So in the previous videos, we learned how to create and edit files using Nano and a bunch of other programs. This time we're going to talk about how to read files, because you can double click it. That's exhausting, and if you're on a server, harder. You can open it in Nano, so Nano edit me.txt, and come in here and you can look at that. And then you have to exit. That's okay, but then that's some typing. If you want to just pop the contents of the file right here into the terminal to look at, you can say cat is the command, for short for concatenate. We'll talk about that in a second. But you say cat edit me.txt, and it just outputs the contents of the file right there. They call it cat, short for concatenate, because it will concatenate multiple files together. So you can say cat edit me.txt, super cool file bro.txt, and you can see you have the same lines, and then this last line here comes from the other file, and that is the beauty of cat. Now, what happens if we say cat on a really big file? And it blows us all the way to the bottom, and you're like, well, wait, what happened to, and you should have to scroll up to see the rest of it, and sometimes you're in a terminal that doesn't scroll, and it gets weird. If you want to see a file and be able to scroll up and down inside without taking your hands off the keys, the command you want is less. You want to see less of the file, so less and old hope, enter. And you're in here, you can see your terminal is turned into this fancy block, and you can push down and up, and there are some commands that you can do in here. But primarily I like just like the up and down keys. And you can scroll as kind of, scroll to see what you want to see, and then push Q to quit. And so that is less. Two other commands that we'll cover are head and tail. They do the same thing, except head will print out the first 10 lines of a file, and tail will print out the last 10 lines of the file. You can change that number of lines, head, so if you do -n and then the number of lines, 3, you see it skips the last couple, but the same option works on tail. 1, 2, 3. So it skips the first set of lines there. So one other useful command you can use is the -f. So -f for follow, and then the file name, and you can see it kind of hangs up and doesn't let you do anything. If you open a new window and you go nano edit me.txt to edit the file, you go in here and change the file a little bit. Super duper awesome. Control X to save, or exit, yes to save and overwrite, and then enter to keep the name the same, and you'll see it updates with the new line in there. And so the -f is follow, and it just updates every time it changes. This is super handy if you want to read, if you have a web server or something that's constantly printing log files, and you want to look in there and read and kind of follow it while you're doing stuff. It's like the development debugging server is kind of the standard example I can think of. So that is how you do that, and then Control C to quit and get you out of there. Control C is kind of the panic button. Control C, and then if it doesn't work, Control D. Control D will kind of log you out or exit the Control D exits. So it's kind of the end of file or end of program command. It's a little bit sterner. Okay, anyways, that was reading files. We talked about editing and now reading files. In the next one, we'll talk about another way to modify and deal with files called redirecting, which is going to be complex, but I think you'll like it.